LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Passport Mommy, Michelle Jerson, oh my gosh, a great talent, great broadcaster, and a mom, a real New York City mom, raising her kids in an apartment. If you grow up in Illinois, there's no such thing as a large New York apartment. Doesn't matter what size your apartment is. To the rest of the world, it's small.
That's
Michelle
right.
Jerson runs a blog to help other moms. Useful, practical, common sense mom stuff. There's no greater horror for most parents than the birthday party for people under 15. You have to organize a birthday party for people under 15. You have lost day run. I actually knew a set of parents that gave their kids a birthday party every other year. I thought that was the cruelest thing I ever heard in my life. But then I started to hear about other scenarios, and I'd like you to share with us, Michelle, your latest birthday party episode, starting with how old are your kids?
Sure. So my daughter just turned 9 this past weekend, and my son is 6, almost 7. And every year for the last few years, I've tried to convince them not to have a birthday party. And I've said, let's go do something fun. We'll go do an experience. But it doesn't fly. So this year started with my daughter going to invite maybe 1 or 2 friends over, and then it turns into a whole weekend, including a sleepover at a hotel in Times Square.
I've done the hotel sleepover with 2 of my kids. It was a spectacular success. I'm going to be quiet. I just want you to talk and tell us this story.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I agree with you. It was a success, but other parents were very hesitant when I put it out there. So I'll tell you, so we started off the weekend at the Great Big Game Show, which is in Times Square. It's a really fun thing. So they allow up to 14 kids. So, of course, she wanted to have friends. So the 2 to 3 friends expanded to maybe 10 friends plus family. Then after that, we went to a pizza place, John's Pizza, also in Times Square for dinner. Then mostly everyone went home, and she went with one of her friends to a hotel in Times Square where we stayed, the Hyatt Regency. And, you know, I invited 3 of her close friends. One couldn't make it. The other one, the mom was like, at the beginning when I sent it out, 2 moms said, I don't feel comfortable. They both blamed it on their husbands, that they didn't want the daughter to go stay at a hotel in Times Square. And then I go to the gym with one of the moms. So we were talking about it one morning, and I was explaining my rationale. And I was like, well, listen, you know, our apartment's pretty small. She really, really wants a sleepover. And I thought this would be a really fun staycation for the girls, and I'll be with them the whole time. My husband's not going to be there. And so after that, she agreed. And so the girls had the best time, but I felt so badly because then the one girl had to say goodbye, and she knew that she had been invited and she wasn't allowed to go. And so then the next morning when they woke up, they basically were on the iPad with this third girl the entire time while they did all their activities all morning to make her feel like she was included.
Then what happened?
So it was a fun time. So we got a really nice room. We had a corner room with a beautiful view. So the 2 9-year-olds basically did cartwheels throughout the room all night. Then they were excited. The one girl was so excited that she had slippers and a robe. And then in the morning, we went for breakfast. They have a great restaurant there, so we grabbed breakfast. Then, of course, I was like, okay, what am I going to do for a few hours? So we went down to the gym. And there was a great yoga studio that the 2 of them could hang out in and do cartwheels some more while I worked out. And then we went to lunch at their restaurant, which was also amazing. And then she went home at about 2 o'clock. And then I took my daughter to Dave & Buster's and then to Ellen's Stardust Diner, which is like, I haven't been there since I was a kid. Those quite a weekend.
You would recommend taking kids to a hotel for a birthday party.
I know it sounds weird, but as you said, you've done it, and I thought it was great. And these are memories that she's going to have, hopefully, for years to come. And, look, obviously, if the roles were reversed and somebody invited my daughter to a hotel for a birthday party, I would need to know the parents really well and need to know what's going to go on there.
All I would need to know was is the mom going to be, you did it the right way, is mom going to be there without dad? Yes.
Right.
That's all I'd need to know.
Exactly.
And then I'd have no concern. And the one we did, it was just mom, ironically in a Times Square hotel. And then another one we did near Grandma's, which was in Shaker Heights, Ohio, with the 14-year-old's friends. They went to a hotel with mom, and they had a great time because they get to do the things they really want to do. They watch TV. They didn't have a sibling bother them, and they could order room service.
No, exactly. See, that's the one thing we didn't do, but you're absolutely right.
No,
and
that was
so much
that was
fun.
the best thing. First of all, think about it. It cuts down on any lost children. You're in that room,
Right.
the food's brought to you. That's number one. Number two, it's still cheaper than Chuck E. Cheese.
That is true. I know. Somehow we got sucked into still doing other things after this hotel. But you're right.
And in both cases, and maybe in yours, my kids came up with those ideas. I didn't come up with the hotel idea. They wanted to go. And and it's, to a large degree, it solves the small apartment problem, but it is in fact a treat. So my friend who has a large apartment and money took them to the Times Square hotel also, which is where I got the idea from.
Okay.
And she said, and I'm looking at her like it's nice to have money, but she volunteered it. She said, and I did it all on points. Like,
yes.
Of course you did it all on points. So it was the cheapest birthday party she ever gave and had the best result.
Exactly. There are ways of doing it. You can appear to, let people think you're rich, but you know what? There are ways.
14-year-old this year, out of nowhere, said, I want to go bowling. And I'm like, now, this will sound funny because it is actually funny. Most of her friends are autistic.
Okay, right.
And to go to a bowling alley with autistic children is pretty much a random event. Like, really? You understand this one and this one, and this one might not understand anything they see. And she said, I know, but I really want to go bowling. Okay. They all had a great time. And then I learned something else about bowling I'll pass along, and I appreciate your time tonight. Michelle Jerson, Passport Mommy blog. The other thing I learned about taking kids bowling, the bowling alleys are not all like the ones you and I imagine. There are, in fact, 8 and 10 and 12 lane bowling alleys. You just have to look for them and shop for them. You can find smallish bowling alleys where you can keep your eye on all the kids all the time. It's not an overwhelming view. And that's what we had. I think there were 6 bowling alleys there. And they got a pizza and a cake, and they couldn't have been happier.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Are those called duck pin bowling alleys, or is it just a smaller version of a bowling alley?
Duck pin bowling is different and confined to Boston.
Oh, really? There was one in Connecticut that we did one time.
That's the same as Boston.
Okay.
Michelle Jerson, how do we find you online?
You could find me at passportmommy.com. That's where the website is. There's also a podcast, which it's on any of your podcasting platforms, Passport Mommy.
Michelle Jerson, thank you for being on another side of midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks.
Thank you.